to such a tournament, also being very resilient, especially after having a year on online tournaments.
True.
Now, I wonder what the players are thinking of. Do you know if Rapport knows his move already? Or he's still hesitating?
You think
on
a lucky
move
dip? I mean, Rapport, he can play anything on move 1, right? But in general, I think he will have picked at least an idea or two.
I think he will go something solid.
Something solid.
Though, I don't know which move he will be picking for today.
I would be surprised if he played e4 somehow. Unless he's very sure that Nepomniachtchi will play e5. But
This is a question whether Nepo is keeping his preparation and that's why he's playing e5.
yeah.
And Berlin, for example, against Magnus, right?
Yeah.
Is he want to repeat it in the World Championship match, or he's playing it in order to avoid this and wants to play something very different, the Sicilian?
I think we can make guesses that the Sicilian will be the main thing. If you're playing the Berlin here, revealing your hand too soon, it would be quite a strange decision. It's quite uncharacteristic of...
I would bet he's going to go e4, Rapport.
Okay, and just asking that question.
Yeah, let's see what he wants. Is he going for e5, or he says, okay, I want to win, I go c5, let's go for the sharp things?
Sure. Yeah, when I played Rapport, he's played e4, d4 and c4 against me, I think. So.
Yeah, but he plays also knight f3.
Yeah, and knight f3, and maybe he could flick in a b3 or g3.
Yeah,
here
g3, sometimes f4 I think also comes out.
And the same could be said, I guess, of Magnus Carlsen. He can play anything, but in these big
What is he
battles,
going to be playing today against Sergei?
Yeah, in must-win situations nowadays.
e4, no? He will play e4.
Because it might be a similar strategy to yesterday, just sit on the position, just make things slow and try and get that grind going. It's been successful so far.
Well, it can be a Berlin then.
It might well be a Berlin or an anti-Berlin, maybe, not the endgame.
Yeah, I mean, he might be playing again d3 as what he played yesterday against Rapport.
Yeah, I think.
But he's not going to get knight e7 on that move.
That's a given, that's for sure. And here we see Karyakin has arrived, and the ceremonial first move
is d4.
Is d4. Okay, will Magnus take that move back?
Let's see if it stays.
I remember an interview years ago at the London Chess Classic where Magnus, his first move was made by a young child, and he just felt, I think, felt too awkward to take the move back, so he just let it happen, even though it wasn't his intention on move 1. But
so what do you think? It stays?
Will it stay? He hasn't moved it back yet. Okay.
That would be strange if he takes it back also.
Okay.
And he does. He kept it there. Look at that. He kept it there for a minute.
He was teasing Sergei, but
and played e4.
And he played e4 eventually. So we're expecting some variant of the Berlin. Yeah, Magnus teasing us there. Okay, so he brings his knight out. Bishop b5, you think? No Italian game? Magnus has been
I go bishop b5. I think he goes bishop b5.
Magnus has been playing the Italian a lot online recently, but that would have been quite predictable. So it's to the Spanish again.
No, I think he doesn't mind the Berlin. And, well, I'm expecting d3.
Yes.
Obviously, he doesn't want to go into the endgame. He did go into the endgame against Nepo, because that was something he was thinking, okay, it's a draw or I win, fine.
Yeah. And now, okay, the trendy line with bishop takes c6 and dc6. This definitely indicates that Magnus is going for a slower game. No direct tension here. White still has a very flexible setup. White can even try and castle on both sides, depending on what kind of game he's angling for.
Which direction is he going to go? To a long castle system? Knight c3, bishop develops?
I have a feeling he'll go short.
Short?
Yeah, actually, Karyakin's... okay, there he goes short immediately.
And there he is.
Karyakin, I think, is the world's leading expert at defending the black side when White tries to go aggressive by castling long. So I remember him having some battles against Dominguez, Caruana. Every time White was trying to castle long and push those kingside pawns back, and Karyakin, he'd found some nice setups for black. So, okay, Magnus just plays castles. And lots of different setups here for black. Knight d7, bishop e6, queen d6, bishop e6. Queen e7.
Queen e7 also, yeah. Right? I never played bishop c6.
Okay. Was it a stylistic thing or just maybe
I don't
not
know.
so trendy?
I think I just didn't like it so much. I don't know.
Did you like your
somehow-
bishop pair? Were you quite attached to your bishops?
Yeah, I was more liking. I didn't like to give it up.
Yeah.
Somehow these structures, I didn't play it with either color.
Now, I've played these mostly from the black side, but occasionally with white, and it's still, after hundreds of hours of
It is
studying,
very difficult to understand the nuances and the
Yeah.
details because I don't know. Somehow I never studied that much these kind of positions that I understand and feel comfortable with that.
No, I'd agree that even after studying, I don't feel comfortable. And okay, knight d7. I was going to say Karyakin, he tends to favor this knight d7 approach.
Yeah, is white going to play d4, or that
Okay,
would be too early?
I think probably too early. This would transpose.
Knight e5, yeah.
Yeah, maybe just knight
Something
e5.
like that being very active for black.
This would look like a Spanish exchange, kind of a direct Spanish exchange, but
So is white playing bishop e3 or knight c3?
there's a few moves. You can play c3, you can play bishop g5 even, you can play knight d2, knight c3, lots of different viable setups. Okay, he does play c3, it looks like.
He
So
wants to
your idea, I guess, of d4. as well.
strengthen with d4.
And I've had this position, I think, against Arkady Naidic, and I castled, and he played bishop g5,
Provoking.
trying to provoke f6.
So did you go queen e8 or f6?
I think I played queen e8, yeah, and the game went on. He played d4, bishop d6, knight bd2, and eventually I did play f6, and it's very solid for black, but white does have the center. White does have quite simple ideas of queen c2, bring the rooks to the middle.
Well, probably Magnus has again somehow similar idea and strategy like yesterday. That he wants to have a middle game with most of the pieces are on the board,
Yeah.
and then somehow he's just plays and hopefully outplays his opponent eventually, right? And the time issues, so the players are thinking a lot of time. That was the case yesterday when he played against Rapport. He had a little pleasant position from the opening.
Yeah.
Actually, Rapport said that he didn't like the position, that
okay.
it was unpleasant. Though after that, Magnus kind of gave it away, and then when it was short on time, then
That's when he
that
pounced.
was the moment. Yeah.
Actually, I was slightly surprised to see Magnus spend so long yesterday. Maybe it was the kind of the occasion, the nerves. Usually Magnus in those types of positions, he does make quite quick decisions. But okay, it paid off the time he invested.
Yes.
And okay, we'll come back to this game. We're expecting to see black just castle, for example. Okay, he plays h6, maybe to stop this bishop g5 idea, which has some
Well,
pros,
it
some
must be
cons.
because most likely it's not because he wants to go g5
Maybe
after
if white
knight
plays
d7.
h3, then maybe g5.
But after
this will
knight
never happen.
d7 anyway,
Yeah,
that is not the move, right? Probably it is against bishop g5. He wants to keep it the bishop away from there.
Yeah, so black can maybe dream of setting up with even queen f6 later on, bishop d6, if white just plays bishop
Knight
e3.
d2 or bishop
Yeah,
e3.
one of these two moves. Maybe castles or queen f6. So it's just a position, right?
Well, it looks like completely playable position, right?
Yeah.
Very complicated. It can be knight c4, h3, b4.
Meanwhile, I guess black will castle, rook e8, and just
A4.
see.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah. Very tense game ahead for us. Maybe another long one.
exactly.
Okay,
Okay,
so
let's see the other games. What about Rapport? And I did not guess right because he went d4 and he played knight f3, wanted to go for the queens in the end and got d5, bishop g5, h6, takes.
okay,
So I guess knight c3,
which he will play now, knight c3.
knight c3 is on the board.
And I'm just trying to think if we could see a transposition roughly to something that we saw between, what was it, Rapport and Karyakin earlier in the tournament. If black were to play bishop b4 and say queen c2, if black castles, a3, and I think this would be a direct transposition.
Yeah, and here black played d takes c4,
D takes c4 and
c6.
Yeah.
So this was the game, right? Bishop h3 and c5.
c5, and this
Yeah.
got very sharp very quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
And in the end, Rapport did take down Karyakin with the white pieces, so
But it was not an easy game, very
Yeah.
complicated game.
very sharp. Lots of ups and downs. So
But okay, I think it's very clear that Rapport will play very solid today. I don't know how much risk he's going to be taking. I wouldn't be surprised if not much.
Do you think he'll be keeping one eye on the other board, on Magnus's game? If Magnus ends up not making any headway and ending up with a draw, maybe then he'll be happy with the draw himself? Or?
I think, I'm not sure who he is going to be looking and watching too much Magnus's game. He knows that he has to handle his game well, and that's completely secondary to watch the other game. It's also a question whether how much you're paying attention on your rival, right, during the game. Because I don't think he will change his mind how much risk he's going to be taking, depending on Magnus, how he's standing.
He's quite an individual player, right? He'll just play his position. And you see some of the other players walking around looking at other boards, but I think Richard does it slightly less than the others.
Interesting, because usually he's the guy who is walking quite a lot. Let's say when he plays in the Olympiad, or sometimes he plays fast.
Maybe that's why he's got such great results over here so far, just maybe sitting at the board more.
Yeah, in the Olympiad, I remember when his wife is playing, because she's also a very good chess player. She was playing in the team, and it was a problem for me when I knew that she played very far away, and I knew that when I was a captain, you know, I said, yeah, okay, I just hope that Jovanka, his wife, is playing near to our board, so he doesn't have to go always.
He'll be burning lots of calories back and forth. Yeah. And an interesting thing here, Judith, so these two players have had this exact position against each other before. Earlier this year in Paris in the Grand Chess Tour. Just a blitz game. But in that position, Richard played Queen A4 check.
Knight C6.
Knight C6. So this actually transposes to one of the main lines of the Rogozin.
Rogozin.
Yeah.
That I was playing with black. And what, Rook C1 he went?
He played E3, castles, and then Rook E1. Rook C1, sorry. And
yeah, I mean, usually in these positions, white is not risking too much, right?
I've played this myself when I just want to kind of bore my opponents to death and just kind of get this slightly better version of a Carlsbad structure, maybe with black's knight slightly awkwardly placed on C6. But yeah, nothing too much to write home about.
At the same time, actually, it is so interesting to see Nepo, right? That he was always a player who is burning bridges, right? Always go for the interesting,
very direct, concrete,
initiative, dynamic positions, right? And now that he became the challenger and the way he played in the candidates, it shows that he's transforming his style. Somehow he controls himself
he's
better,
evolving,
right?
Yeah.
And I would be extremely interesting to see how he's going to be playing against Magnus. What will be the strategy? How much is he going to be provoking Magnus or looking for these chaotic positions?
Do you think his best bet will be going back to his kind of original self, going for those more dynamic positions? Because to me, at least on the outside, it feels like he's not as comfortable in these types of positions as Magnus would be.
No, but at the same time, he has to be ready to play those kind of positions, and has to be ready to defend unpleasant positions against Magnus, which is one of the most difficult thing, I think, because it is not so interesting, exciting, right? So it's not so spectacular and calculations and some special moves. At the same time, it is very valuable if you can save a worse position.
Yeah.
Especially in a match.
True. But he's had success against Magnus in classical chess with his kind of firebrand style. So
I'm sure he will try to
especially with white,
match.
maybe.
Yeah, of course. That's a different story.
So maybe he's hired Peter Lecco for his black pieces, just toughening himself up.